Hello YouTube and welcome back. Today I'm coming at you from Washington DC with a life safety tour. I'm in my hotel right now and this has quite some interesting stuff in it, so let's go ahead and get started. One of the things you'll notice is that this is an older building, of course. It has been renovated, so it does look pretty nice, but you can clearly tell that this is an older horn strobe. It's a Wheelock 7002 or 7002T, but either way it's a mechanical horn strobe that's probably from the 80s or 90s. You can see here that one of the devices has been replaced. So all of the initiating devices actually have been replaced with these addressable Gamewell FCI devices. So you can see if we walk over here, right by the elevator lobby, there is a smoke detector. There's no smoke detectors anywhere else in the building. So there's no smoke detectors in this corridor except for by the elevator, which is used for elevator recall. I'll explain that in a second. But this is what I'd consider a two-stage or second stage fire alarm replacement. So of course it's most cost effective when, for example, a fire panel is going out. You just replace the fire panel, but you leave all the field devices in place. The second stage is when you leave most of the field devices and the system intact. So that means all the wiring, all the boxes, all the notification appliances, and you just replace the initiating devices. This makes sense in a lot of cases because you would want the addressability of a system like this, where when you activate a pull station, smoke detector activates or something like that, you'll get an exact location and address of the alarm and not just a zone. Another stage of replacement would be just keeping all of the back boxes and wiring in place, just doing a device for device replacement. So that would include these devices. And then finally, a total replacement, of course, as the name suggests, just means that the entire thing is ripped out, new wiring is run, an entirely new system, and that's obviously the most disruptive and the most costly. Also, something you notice about these devices is that they all have signage at them that tells you what to do in the event of a fire. This is a Washington, D.C. specific requirement. So here in Washington, D.C., I'll put the code reference on the screen if I can find it. It states that all striking stations or pull stations are required to have conspicuous signage that tells occupants what to do. So you can see here this sign, which is clearly pretty old, tells you what to do. All of the pull stations have them, so I'll go down a floor and I'll show you. So you can see here, this pull station also has a sign that tells you what to do. Something that's also notable about this building is that the fire extinguishers are serviced by a very sketchy company. You can see here there's an old tag on it, and I'm not talking about Johnson Controls, otherwise I wouldn't be showing the name. But this hasn't been serviced allegedly since August 2023, but there is actually a tag. The company's just too lazy to remove the old tag, and you can see they also left the old tamper seal on. That's kind of ragging and tagging, but you can see here they don't even use a hole punch. They just circle it with a pen. I mean, are we serious right now? Something interesting you might notice is that both of the stairways that service this floor are right here, right next to each other. There's no other stairway at the other end of the floor. This is probably not something that would be compliant today, but of course it's older construction, so it's grandfathered in. I originally thought these were scissor stairs, which is basically when two stairways are put in the place of one stairway, so it takes up less space. But these are separate, so if you open this fire door, which doesn't latch actually, this is a stairway, and then if you go here, this is another stairway. Of course, this is actually kind of decent because scissor stairs are good because they take up less space, but they're also a little dangerous because if one fire door fails, which again, these fire doors are here to prevent smoke and fire from entering the stairway in the event there's a fire on this floor. If one fails, the entire stairway, both stairways actually, are no longer usable to occupants. So that's a safety concern. Continuing our discussion of elevator recall, the reason these smoke detectors are here and nowhere else is because when there's sprinklers in a building, most building codes will allow that the building doesn't have to have smoke detectors everywhere except for out here, where you still do need a smoke detector. So that way, in the event that there's a fire outside of this elevator, the elevator will not open on this floor. Also, if this smoke detector activates, of course, the building fire alarm will probably go off and the elevator will recall to the floor where it's safe to exit. It's a prime example of what I'm talking about. This fire door doesn't latch. Of course, it doesn't sound that important, but it's a fire door and fire can build pressure. So if there's a fire behind this door and it's building pressure for whatever reason, then this door might swing open and let smoke into the stairway, which is not good. So if we come down here, you can see part of the fire sprinkler system. So this is good. This was retrofitted in later, obviously, but we can see we have part of it here. This is a flow switch that connects to the fire alarm system. So this services this floor's fire sprinklers. In the event that a sprinkler activates here, this flow switch will pick up that water flow, trip the fire alarm. There's a monitor module that controls this, but yeah. This building's honestly a little lacking in terms of emergency lighting. You can see, of course, we have exit signs at the two exit stairways, and then we have one exit sign here that points that way. But I think this is the only emergency light for the whole hallway. I mean, of course, it does work, but there's literally nothing else. So I hope this building has an emergency generator because this certainly is not enough for this whole hallway. I'm here at the bottom floor of this building, and as you can see, this fire door is propped open. This is not good at all. Of all fire doors to prop open, this is probably the worst one to prop open. Of course, it's no good to have any code violations, but this is a very critical fire door, and I'll tell you why. We're at the bottom of the building right now, so should there be a fire here, smoke would enter this stairway, and as you know, smoke rises. So if you look up, this entire stairway will act as a chimney, and the smoke will just rise to the top. So anybody trying to exit through this stairway will encounter really heavy smoke conditions, and that's really dangerous. Of course, this fire door is not held open by any UL-listed magnetic releasing device or something. It's just held open by whatever this is. I mean, there's a 2x4. I mean, that's not legal at all. Of course, behind here, there's also this really crusty exit sign. See, it's kind of fallen off. Does it work? It does actually. Oh, crap, I just got it stuck open. But, oh, and there it goes. Also, if you hear that obnoxious beeping, it's coming from the fire panel room. I can't get in because it's locked, but it's clearly in trouble as you saw upstairs. But that's probably not ideal either. What on earth is this? You can see they've modified the door bracket so it actually latches. But I mean, that is not a good fire seal. That gap is too big. We've only got one fire alarm related device in here, and that's this old crusty smoke alarm. This is an ionization fire X unit that's definitely over 10 years old, maybe even 20 years old. If you look at the date, oh, there it goes. What is it? 2003. So that's definitely over 10 years old. And then also, if we look at the sprinklers, you'll notice, I mean, what the heck is this? This is upside down. So originally I thought that this was supposed to be like this because the other sprinkler head on the other side of the room is also like this. But no, if you look at the deflector, it clearly says top. So, I mean, I don't know who did this job, but clearly they didn't do a very good job at all. I mean, what? Like, how do you even do this? In the lobby, you can see we have a graphic annunciator. Here in Washington, D.C., it's also a requirement for fire panels or fire alarm annunciators to be graphic at the main entrance. So you can see this one actually has a trunk. Right outside here, you can see we have a bell. It's actually fallen off of its back box. If you can see, it's a little dark. But this is a sprinkler bell. So conventionally, when the fire alarm goes off, the internal signal devices will sound. This bell will not. If there's a water flow, which means the sprinkler is activated, this bell will sound to indicate that a sprinkler system has activated. Here we have another pole station and another sign. As you can see, this was probably in place of an older device, hence this big panel thing. Of course, we have these really cool, unique speaker strobes. So you can see here, of course, we have another pole station. This one actually says local fire alarm on it. So, of course, there's also the sign right next to it. I think this might be an older regulation. I'm not sure if it's still in place, but all of the older systems definitely have it, so it's definitely interesting. I forgot to take a video when I left, but that's the exact poll station that one congressman polled that one time a year ago. Maybe interesting to note. Here's one of those old fire alarm boxes. You can see that it used to be a game wall box here, but all of these are out of service now, so they've been converted to various different things. I've seen people use them as little free libraries. This one is whatever this is, but it's kind of cool. But you know who does use their fire boxes? Boston. This is actually a set of fire doors. It's the set of doors that goes to the stairway, and obviously it has to be fire rated. These doors are kind of disguised. They're hidden in the wall, so they don't look conventional, but behind these doors is a magnet, and they'll automatically drop when the fire alarm sounds. So this right here is another set of fire doors, except it's not a set, it's actually a rolling fire barrier. You can see that there's a door on the wall that'll roll this way or vice versa, and this will seal off this area if the fire alarm goes off. So this right here is a set of old fire and police call boxes. So this is a fire box, obviously, or was a fire box. Again, you can see these things have all been repurposed, but this was a game wall box. Then over here, the blue one is a police box, pretty much the same thing, but of course these things aren't in service anymore in the city.